Hey everyone, Rick here with another episode in our 30-day challenge for the series of Learn to Write Sci-Fi. Now, the whole point of this series, this is the first video that you've seen, is for me to be able to help teach you to become your own self-published author, preferably in sci-fi, right? So this is a lot more creative fictional writing than it would be anything that would be for nonfiction, although some of the stuff that we're talking about would absolutely apply even with nonfiction. So as we're coming to a close of the 30-day challenge, which, by the way, there's going to be more content coming after. This is just a jump start to get this page and this channel going, and that there's actually content on it, right? So today I want to talk about, as you're going through the process of writing your own short story, for you to start thinking about pricing. So when it comes to Kindle, and you're going to be publishing on Amazon, you have to think about how much are you going to sell it for. Now you have two different brackets. You have 35% and 70%. What those mean to you is basically your percent of the price that you are going to keep. So Amazon lets you choose. Now, a lot of people will be like, oh, well, this 70% sounds much better. Then I'd rather keep 70% of the money than 35%. But you do need to understand that there are basically floors to the pricing bracket that you need to be made aware of. So if let's say you wrote any size book, and you're like, okay, well, I want to sell it for, I don't know, I think it's worth $1, right? Well, the minimum that you can sell anything on Amazon as far as for Kindle publishing is 99 cents. That is the lowest, other than being able to arrange things for it to be free. As long as there's a price, it has to be at least 99 cents. If you go for 99 cents, you have to take the 35% bracket, which means for every person who comes through and buys your story, whether they read it or not, because you're not being paid by reads like you would with Kindle Unlimited, this would be, straight up purchasing from a consumer. You would only keep 35%, which would be 35 cents. So you would make, say, from all the buyers, you would only keep 35 cents at $1, even at 99 cents. The next, basically the floor level for the 70% bracket is $2.99. So if you wanted to sell it for even if you want to sell it for $2.98, you still have to sell it for 35%. You can't sell it in the 70% bracket. So if you want that 70%, which is the majority of the money, obviously, you would have to sell it at minimum of $2.99. And at $2.99, if you're keeping 70%, that's like $2.07. So that's a lot. So if you were keeping $2 from every reader for one of your short stories, that'd be fantastic when you think about it. I mean, because, it's a short story, it's not worth a great deal. So every single person that buys, you'd be making $2, and then, you're making money whether you're awake or asleep, on vacation, writing your next story, whatever. That's the great thing about, internet sales is you don't have to be the one right there dealing with the consumer. You're just helping just make more content and do marketing, and then you just keep getting customers all throughout the day. But you do need to consider, if you're writing, a 30 to 40 to 50 page book, how much do you think it's worth? And that's only up for you to decide. Like, what do you think when it's finished and you've read it and you've read it and you've read it and you've read it and you've got other readers, you're getting feedback, think, how much is this probably worth? And I think it would even be a good idea, like we talked about yesterday, of you polling your readers. Ask them, say, look, if you were a consumer and you saw this, this book on Kindle, how much would you be willing to pay for it? And give them a range, like, $1, $2, $3, $1.50, whatever, you figure it out. And maybe you'll get enough feedback from people saying, this was really good. This is worth $2. Even though there's only 46 pages. It's still worth $2. It was a really good experience. I can't wait for you to write more. That's awesome. That's fantastic. Now, some authors, as I'm doing my own research, like I said in previous videos, I'm trying to add to my own knowledge to become more knowledgeable so that I can do better with my own marketing. There are some writers who do series, short story or novella series. Some of them will do the first, which will be, part 1 or episode 1, whatever way they choose to define the installment. They will sell that one at 99 cents, and then the rest will either be like $2 or $2.99, and then they'll kind of go from there. So then they might like give people like a discount to like, you know, try out the series, see what you think, and then from then on will be $3. Or others, they just do $2 or $3 and they just all the way through. That's just how much it is. So you need to decide based on, are you doing a series? Are these just standalones? You know, do you really want people to maybe pay $1 and kind of get in? And, you know, and there's a whole level of psychology that I'm not educated enough on to be able to teach you completely, but there is a psychological effect of, you know, things being cheaper and them being more expensive. Sometimes people will look at something, even though you, the content creator, know, man, this is a fantastic product, and I want to get it in as many hands as possible, and I'm willing to sell it for less because I really believe in the product. But the consumers, they don't know you, right? They're just scrolling through, looking at new book covers and stuff, and then they happen to scroll past yours, and then they're going to look at the price. Is the price going to scare them away, or is it going to intrigue them? And sometimes whether it's higher or lower can still scare away people, because they might look at it and say, well, if it was really good, even though there's like 80 pages, they'd probably still sell it for $3. Or they'll be looking at it like, I would never spend, for anything that's a short story or even a novella, I'll never pay more than $1.50. It's never worth it. You know, and that might be their attitude. You're not going to catch everybody, but you want to get some readers, right? And as you get better and better, you want to get more and more. So you got to kind of decide. And you know the great thing, though? You can test it out. You can try for a month at, 99 cents, even at 35%, just to get initial readers. You just try it, see what people think. And if you're not getting a lot of sales, maybe move it up to $2.99 and see what happens. Because you're going to have to be doing marketing. You cannot think for a second. This was my mistake when I was starting. You cannot think for a second that you can do passive marketing. You cannot. There's no such thing. And there's no real term for passive marketing. I kind of made that up right there. But what it is, people make a product, do everything they do to make it great. They put it up on the internet and then they walk away. And then they come back and check their sales and are like, why am I not selling? Well, what are you doing? Are you promoting the book? Are you doing any sort of Facebook ads or Google ads? Do you have a YouTube channel? Do you have a Facebook page? Do you have a Twitter account? Do you have an email list? Do you have a blog? It's not that you have to do all those things, but if you're doing nothing, unless you are just highly blessed and just a bunch of people just happen to just like come walking by and see like, oh wow, it's an amazing book, I'm just going to read it, and it just takes off. Those are the anomalies. Don't model your business. Because remember, that's what you're doing. You are becoming a business owner as you are trying to do this. Even if it's only a side business, you have to think like a business owner. You can't just think, oh, I'm just going to make it and just put it up and we'll see what happens. Probably nothing will happen. Is that worth it to you to spend days and weeks or even months of your life creating a product and then you're not going to follow through and do the back half side of things? All you're going to do is write? I mean, you can, but then you'd be much better off trying to just find somebody to publish your stuff for you. And actually, to my surprise, and there's probably, because I know there's some people who are already, writers that are part of these pages and channels that these videos are posted on, publishers don't actually really market your stuff anymore. That really surprised me. I've been reading several platform building books for writers, and several of the authors are like, yeah, in fact, if you want to become a published author, right, like off the street, like nobody knows who you are as far as like you're not some like big household name as an author, you already have to have some sort of following with you before a publisher really will even give you a chance. So if you think that all you're going to do is just write casually and you're just going to post stuff and you think you're going to hit it big, or you think you're going to actually become published by somebody else, sounds like to me that just isn't the way it is. Maybe it never really was, but it must have been easier back in the day to an extent, but at the same time, it was harder because we have this amazing opportunity to create videos or to create blog posts or to email people on an email list, and all it takes is our time. Before, you'd have to have radio connections and TV connections, and commercials are not cheap today to film, let alone before where they were tens of thousands of dollars to film. So don't cheap out on the backside of things. We're going to get more into marketing in the next couple of weeks as I add some more stuff to myself to where I feel like I'm confident enough to come back and talk to you guys. But just, you know, test the pricing. I would say for myself, what I started with was like $1.99, $1.97. I chose to go a little bit higher because to me it's like, well, if it's $1, how good is it? To me. But my short stories did not build on each other. They were universe building, basically like world building, but they were not, you know, introducing a character and then we're just going to keep going through the installments. If it were, which is actually the series that I am working on now, then that will be how the pricing will be going forward with that. I'll probably look at doing the 99 cents to get them in the door, and then from there it's going to be $3. That's probably where I'm going to go. Plus then I get 70% instead of 35, so each sale ends up actually helping me a lot more because, you know, you selling through Amazon for 35 cents a buyer, a reader. I mean, just really quick off the top of my head, it's going to take you 3 to get 95 cents. So it's basically going to take you six plus readers to equal 1 reader at $2.99. So it's almost like, well, at least let me write content to make it to the $2.99 level because then I just need less readers to actually make a difference. So food for thought. All right. If you guys would like to follow us on Facebook or YouTube, if you're not already, on YouTube it is White Light Media, and then on Facebook it is Learn to Write Sci-Fi. Thank you guys very much for watching, sharing, commenting on these videos, and 30-day challenge is getting towards the end, but there'll be a lot of other stuff that's going to be coming after. All right, guys. Talk to you all again tomorrow.